I'm just really, really grateful. Uh, really grateful that we got the date held. We got the matchup, and the fight's gonna hold. So that's really the biggest thing I'm concerned with. All that work and preparation and the weight prep and everything, just to lose the day would be unfortunate. So, especially waiting so long. So I'm just happy the fight held together, and of course I'm no one to discount a newcomer.
How do you feel about his the way he's earned his way into the UFC? He didn't make it on the Contender Series, and he went away. He got a couple of wins together. I mean, you fought an LFA in the past as well. He's an LFA veteran. Do you think he deserves to be here?
I mean, I guess we'll find out. He's got a tall order and fighting me out the gate. It's hard to say who deserves and who doesn't. A lot of us were so. When I'm in the gym with my guys, there's not always a huge difference between the UFC guys and the LFA guys. It's a matter of circumstance often. I was an LFA guy till I wasn't. Who's to say that I deserved to be there against Dariush when I did? I mean, I guess I proved it, but I wouldn't say I did to begin with. So it's kind of shocking sometimes, the lack of distinguishment sometimes between UFC guys and LFA guys, and of course there's levels, and I like to think I'm at the highest tier of the UFC guys, so I do think there is a great distinguishment, and I'll show that between me and this newcomer. But a lot of that's going to be shown in the mentality as well, in the mental work.
How pleased are you with the work that you've managed to put in, and is this the kind of fight you go into where you see an early stoppage?
Yeah, I've learned just from experience to not really expect anything. I try not to hold any expectation, any kind of ego, almost like I put in all this work, so I can almost, in like a samurai sense, surrender the outcome, but do that with the greatest intensity possible. And it's definitely within reach of getting a really nice first round finish. But I'm not going to be surprised if he's tough. I have great respect for his coach, and I wouldn't be. I guess I kind of would be surprised, but I'm prepared for him to go 3 rounds. I am prepared for him to go 3 rounds.
You mentioned your debut against Dariush. Is it strange for you to see him as the number 3 lightweight in the world right now? Is that testament to just how good you are that you put him away and quickly?
No, I mean, it's there's so much to learn from a guy like that. Where he was at, and then the momentum he was able to string together, and then and continue to grow even at his stage in his career. And again, that speaks to the mindset, because physically, how much better has he gotten? Maybe a little bit, but probably not a ton better. But mentally, he probably really started to connect some pieces that have made that resounding difference and made those strides in the ranking. So I take a lot from Dariush to try to learn from him as a professional and as a competitor. I think it speaks to my capability, is what it speaks to, for sure. And the capability of a lot of us. Again, that's what I'm saying. I've put a lot of focus in the mind state and my approach to it, because so much of it early on when I was fighting when I was young, it was just go. I would just go, and I would go in there and go berserk, and generally it'd work out, but then you saw when it didn't work out, and that was a problem, because you could run into that, in the top 10, the top 5. And so I had to become a more composed fighter. And then I had to learn how to do both, hold a certain level of intensity and a certain level of composure. And I feel like that's where I'm finally at right now. And so I'm fighting Breeden or Santos or whoever. A lot of the preparation since my last fight was just making little corrections of myself. How would I defeat me? And then so I would make those corrections, and then upping the physicality and the intensity a bit, because I don't think that I'm the best at any single discipline, but I do think I'm one of the best in the world at blending. I have the ability to do it all, and I feel like I'm the best at blending. And so that's something that I started to take away from my game. And over the last however many months, I've really enforced that, the ability to almost like a GSP, blending up and down, up and down, up and down. And you see that's when guys break at the highest level. Anybody can dance for 15 minutes, but they can't handle the up and the down over the course of 3 rounds. That's where you break people. So that's just really evolving myself as an athlete is what I've worked to do. And that's something Dariush did too, you know, being really grimy and physical and really trying to break guys with his grappling and his striking blend.
That debut was, you know, one of the best UFC debuts we've seen from a newcomer. And then there was so much excitement about you, like a lot of promotion for you going into the Cowboy fight. Did any of it feel rushed for you? Did the people around you or the UFC or yourself, was it trying to have it all at once in any way?
Yeah, I would absolutely, you know, hindsight, I would say it was certainly rushed, you know, because as an athlete, I wasn't ready. And as a team, we weren't ready. You know, I was training out of Ohana Academy in San Antonio, which I still have allegiance to. My coach is actually here for this fight week, but he's not my head coach, you know. Mark Montoya, of course, is now. And we were just so young. We were just so infantile as a team. You know, my coach had never seen or done anything like this. I was in a lot of ways kind of the head MMA guy, athlete and coach in a lot of ways. And I was putting a lot together on my own. And we were just winging it, man. We were winging it well too. But a lot of times we're just throwing shit at the wall and trying to figure it out each time. And that's why you've seen so many different versions of me in the cage. You know, I mean, I don't know if there's any two appearances that look the same, honestly. And so it's just constantly trying to grow and hoard awareness of myself and figure it out along the way. But I would say it was aggressive. It was tangible though. It certainly was. I was close. I think I would have had it if I was a little better prepared. Again, I would say mentally, because physically, I feel like even at that point in my career, I could have smoked him. I just mentally, I had this expectation. I kept thinking he needed to go out. Like, why isn't he out in this first round? Oh, well, I've hit him hard. He's rocked. And why haven't I put him away? And I had a really bad habit of, if I did 10 things right and one thing wrong, I would harp on that one thing. You know, oh, he took me down. Well, he's breathing heavy. I can hear him breathing. He's panicking. We're back up on our feet. Fight's going on. Perfect. Let's enjoy this wounded animal. No, instead I'm drowning myself in a shallow fucking pond here thinking, you know, how could you let that takedown happen? You know, why aren't you here or there? Why isn't this progressing in such a way? And so I was often just the death of myself. And that's how I felt in any one of my losses, with the exception of the last one, which really I still think I won that fight. But you know, maybe I didn't have enough intensity in that fight like I normally do. And so that's what I've been making sure that never falters again. But you know, you got to kind of just appreciate the journey. And that's all you can do. You know, you can't go back and say, I wish it was here and I wish I did that. I mean, you can only sulk for so long, and you got to say, you know, these are good lessons, and you got to make them the evolutions of you, you know, and that's all you can do.
Knowing how talented you are and what you're capable of, is it difficult not to get thinking about the belt and thinking about the top five? You hear fighters talking about one fight at a time all of the time, right? Is it difficult to not find yourself focusing on the future and not the here and now?
Less now than it was before. Now I'm very much, again, just trying to organize the present and really build myself up and build myself to be prepared for those moments when they come, because you know, I never have been. I've always been kind of reaching beyond the perceived limit of what seemed tangible at the time, or what seemed accomplishable. And then often I was able to fill those shoes, you know, but when you're not, you know, you're kind of devastated because all of a sudden your reality came crumbling. Oh, I thought we were here, and I thought this was, you know, the way it was going to be, and, you know, whatever fairy tale or whatever. And so now, just with the experience I have and the understanding I have, and also a good sense of reality, you know, I understand I need to grow. I need to grow in a lot of the ways that the other guys have gotten the advantage of doing that I never got, you know, and building themselves up from even, you know, the bottom or even the middle. You know, I've just always been at the top, you know.
How do you feel about the top of the division? You talked a little bit about how Dariush is kind of inspiring, how he changed his mindset and got himself right up there. Charles Do Bronx is another example, right, of somebody who just really kind of switched things up.
Yeah. The top is, you know, the top's extremely intimidating. You know, the middle's pretty damn intimidating. And you even, I mean, we were just watching the Contender Series right now. Those sons of bitches are pretty good too, you know? So it's just the nature of it. The sport's constantly evolving. It's always so dangerous. And that's why you have to manage it one step at a time, because it can start becoming overwhelming if you start thinking about all these challenges at once, or it can start you can start growing impatient also if you start thinking, maybe a little too forward or about too many opponents or what someone else is doing. And I've just really learned to pacify that and kind of, hey, let's one step, because it only takes a few steps. And I know it well, and you've seen it so many times. It only takes a few steps. So just make sure you're ready when those come, because it'll happen like that. You'll take off like a rocket.
Which guy would you say has the most of your respect in the division, or who do you think is the most exciting right now in lightweight?
That's so hard in the division. I've always had a ton of respect for everyone. Even in Cerrone, it's just always been how can I best defeat them mentally and physically, and that was my approach to defeat him mentally in that fight. It's hard to say. It's impossible to say who I had the most respect for. I think Oliveira is extremely exciting. He's really well rounded. Makhachev's going to keep climbing. He's not terribly exciting, but he is just going to keep on doing his thing. He's very difficult. That's for sure. He's going to be probably the next biggest threat there at the top. And there's just constantly guys. I've kind of danced around Arman Suzuki, and he's a danger as well. There's just so many challenges all around the mix. The whole top 15 is pretty dangerous. So, and they're all for most part pretty damn exciting too. So it's just, again, I just have to mention right now we'll take out Breeden, and then we'll get ready for the next, and really it's just almost not over embellishing these guys. In the beginning I did an incredible but also a delusional job of understating everybody in my own mind, really capitalizing myself, and for that I felt invincible every time. But the ignorance is blissful till it gets you killed, and so now then the other side was like, well, now let's not over embellish anybody either, because there's even a large difference from watching somebody on camera versus watching cage side. It's more glamorous when you watch it on camera. It's much more, again, tangible, realistic, just a kind of feasible when you see it in person. You're like, I can see the way he's moving. I can watch it. I can defeat that. And that's something I've been able to do just from joining Factory X. My fight IQ's grown a lot. My blend's grown a lot. My idea of self's grown a lot. So even like I remember watching the Gaethje Ferguson fight, and I was blown away by it. And then after months of training there, I watched it again, and I was like, oh no, I see what's happening. Like I can pick it apart now. I can see holes. I can see it'll really almost humanize it, because sometimes when you watch a fight, you're just so blown away by it. You're like, wow, what am I going to do against that? But then if you break it down a little bit, you start to dissect it, and you start to watch them, you can see the human in it all. And you don't glamorize it to the same extent. So I don't even know, what we started on for me to go on this ramble, this tangent that I'm on right now. But I definitely, I feel good. I feel capable against any of the guys. And I know I have the capability to beat any of the guys. But to picture taking, all of them on right now it sounds so insurmountable. It sounds so difficult. But if I could go one at a time, and I could analyze them, I could break them down, and I could think about it, I could, continue to build my own confidence, build myself back up to where I was. I know I can beat any of these guys. I know it. I know I can. My coaches know it, and that's important too.
Starts again this weekend. Alexander, thanks, man. I appreciate it a lot. Great to speak to you for the first time. You're the man. Cheers.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it too.